All right. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Good to be back. How is your week starting off again? Feel like every Monday, I feel like it's maybe been just 1 or 2 days in between doing these lives. And so I hope you guys are doing well. You guys are having a successful beginning to the week. You are all in good health. And I was thinking about what to share this evening for Monday Motivation, Journey Reflections. And I wanted to continue a bit more from some things that I shared last week with you all. I wanted to share about responsibility, choosing responsibility versus choosing petty. I thought this would be maybe a useful topic because I'm getting ready to tomorrow, February 1st, is the launch of the Forgiveness Challenge. So it's not too late. If you want to register, all you have to do is email me at levelupwithbeth. Let me know that you want me to send you the challenge and you want to be part of the challenge beginning tomorrow. So it's going to be a 20-day challenge throughout the month of February, basically helping people who have been struggling with forgiving themselves or forgiving other people, how to release that. What does forgiveness really mean? What is it not? Clearing up misconceptions about it. It's all done from a Christian perspective. And I do sometimes feel that, the church or religious institutions have maybe cause some misunderstandings like, oh, just forgive and forget. And it's not really exactly like that. So I am excited that that's going to be happening starting tomorrow. Will be the first day of the challenge. So you're welcome to register still. But a lot of times, little things happen in our lives. People sometimes just say little things here and there, and it kind of adds up. And maybe our feelings get hurt. Maybe it triggers something bigger that happened to us, whatever. But sometimes, it's just kind of human nature to want to be petty, to, when someone hurts our feelings, to just kind of, give a little snide comment or, give a little bit of attitude back. And, I definitely have been there. So it's no judgment at all. I'm just saying, a lot of times when we're hurt, that is, a lot of times what we are tempted to do. And, especially when you're driving, right, on the road, if you own a car and you drive, someone cuts you off, you might want to, flick someone off or cut them back off down the road, right? So all sorts of like little petty things that we might want to do. But I would ask you this question. What level in life do you want to live in or live at? What level do you want to be at? Do you want to be at the same level as other petty people? Or do you want to be at a higher level? There's the really famous song by MJ, I'm looking at the man in the mirror, right? Or I'm starting with a man in the mirror, actually, is what he said. And it could be for a woman too. I'm looking at the woman, I'm starting with a woman in the mirror. I feel like I'm just badly misquoting MJ right now. But, at the end of the day or at the end of a moment, we do kind of have to start with ourselves and how things go for our day after someone's kind of rubbed us the wrong way. It's in our control. We can look at ourselves first, even before we look at that other person. And I am speaking to myself as much as I am speaking to anyone else who's listening to this. I can look at myself first. I start with myself and being aware of like how I'm feeling, but also thinking about, well, what do I want to continue with? Do I want to stay at this person's level? Do I want to escalate the confusion or the conflict that's happening? Do two wrongs really make a right? I don't know. Think about it. If you're driving, to go back to the driving analogy, say I am using a GPS and it tells me to turn left. Sorry, it tells me to turn right, but I turn left. Or I turn right and I'm supposed to turn left, whatever it is. And then I do it a second time. And I've just turned 2 times in the wrong direction. I am now, if I was supposed to be going this way, I am now all the way over here. Or if I was supposed to be going in this direction, I'm now all the way over here. Simply because I took 2 wrong turns. So 2 wrongs, this person does me a wrong, I do a wrong back to kind of feel better about things and make myself feel better. Am I going to end up at the destination of a higher level, or the destination of the woman who I want to become, or who I am in the process of becoming, or the man who I want to become, or I'm in the process of becoming? Is making those little get even wrong turns, is that going to end me up in the same spot that I want to go, that I woke up in the morning saying, I'm going to get to, points, I don't know, points P, right? And all of a sudden now I've just like taken myself all the way back to point 0 by making all these choices that maybe were made in being petty instead of being irresponsible, in taking responsibility for my own actions, my own responses. How can I react? I believe also, right? Michelle Obama is very famous for saying, when they go low, we go high, right? There is, that idea of, even when someone has just, pulled a rug out from underneath us, or surprised us, or done something that's hurt our feelings, how are we reacting? Are we doing little small things, like little microaggressions, to try to get back at their little microaggressions and even the score? Or are we just, pushing through? And I think, it kind of goes back into what I was sharing last week about the concept of, control over authority. Are we trying to control situations and people by ending up getting in a power struggle with them and saying, oh, you did this to me, well, I'm going to show you I'm bigger and I'm badder? Or are we going to just choose to step in our authority of keeping the authority of our own self-respect, the own authority of our power, of our ability to have self-control, our ability to rise above to a higher level than this person who's just hurt us, right? How are we going to break this cycle if we do not step out of the cycle that this person has been trying to pull us into? And this could be in a relationship, like a friendship, romantic partnership. It could be in a business, or, a friendship. It could be in any type of relationship, right? It could even be with just strangers on the street. We could possibly, depending on, where we're going and everything, end up running into a bunch of different strangers at the grocery store, or in line for a cup of coffee, whatever it is, end up, having to deal with all sorts of unpleasant people. And how are we going to react in those situations? Are we going to be responsible for ourselves, or are we going to give our responsibility and our power away by, being petty back? And I do think also it helps when we have our identity that's really strong. So you may be saying, okay, Beth, this sounds really great, but it's not easy. It's not easy to, it is easier to live in our feelings, right? It's easier when someone does us wrong, instead of releasing them from that, and instead of forgiving them. And it never means, I'm never saying that when someone does something bad to us, that they are not responsible. I'm not saying that they're not responsible for things. Of course, whoever has done something to us that's been hurtful, of course, they are responsible for their own actions. So I'm not trying to say they're not responsible. I'm not just trying to let them off the hook. But ultimately, the one thing that we do have influence over is ourselves. So how we're going to react. So where our identity and purpose is coming from, knowing who we are, where are we getting those feelings of authority and power and self-control from? Where does that come from? Whose influence are we under? Does help us navigate situations and be able to decide how we're going to react back when someone does something against us that, kind of stings our feelings or just downright hurts us. Who am I getting my directions from? Am I getting my directions and my identity from my employer, from my business, from my friends? Am I getting it from myself? Am I getting it from my partner? Am I getting it from God? Where am I getting it? Like if I walk into, say, for example, a situation at work, right? And my identity is set with being in my employer, then I'm just kind of functioning in that work environment at an employee level. So I'm probably just going to react with all my other coworkers and also my supervisors, the people who are above me, at just kind of an employee level. If my identity is just simply as an employee of a company or an institution, right? But if I have a higher identity, if my identity is in God, and I walk in every morning into that work environment knowing that I am a divine being, that I am royalty, that I am, a child of the Most High, when I interact with my fellow coworkers, the other employees around me, when I'm interacting with my supervisors, of course, I'm still going to be respectful. It's not about like looking down on someone, but I'm going to walk into that environment differently. I'm going to walk in more regally. I'm going to walk in with more authority in like what I bring and who I am and that I deserve to be there as well. I'm going to walk in there actually probably more humble because, if I know that I'm a child of God, then I know everyone else also is a child of God. So I'm going to be actually more apt to show respect for people because I'm going to have, respect for other divine beings. So this is all to say that when I walk in, if I have my identity set in something that's higher at a higher level, I'm going to function and interact with people at a higher level, and I'm not going to be sinking as easily. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, right? We're never perfect. I mean, I've started off my days going, "Yep, I got this. I know who I am," and then something rubs me the wrong way, and like I kind of can fall apart a little bit too, right? We are human, but for the most part, when we remember who we are, when we have our identity in something higher, then we are going to function at a higher level. I mean, it can be the same thing in a relationship, in a marriage, or in, a friendship. When I remember who I am and I have my identity and my purpose like linked with God, and again, knowing that I am a divine being, that I am, regal, that I am walking with dignity, that I'm going to function in dignity, being that, I'm royalty, that I'm a child of God, then my husband or my boyfriend or my best friend or my cousin or whoever it is that I'm dealing with, I'm going to be talking and interacting with them, seeing them also as something important and special, but also it's going to help me to have my attitude in check should they kind of rub me the wrong way. Oh wait, it's not really how I want to behave. This is not who I am. I am above being revengeful. I'm above, just cursing someone out. Those things feel good in a moment, but in the long run, they don't leave us feeling very dignified. So even if we have our identity in ourself, that can also be dangerous because like we ourselves as humans are emotional beings. And so one minute I can be happy and content, and the next moment I can feel offended and angry. And so when I'm just functioning within myself or my identity as myself, I can end up finding myself, treating other people based on my emotional state not based on my higher level self. So what I would say is that in order for us to, deal with things on a day-to-day basis that are going to, and it is absolutely going to happen, something will offend us, something will hurt our feelings. Are we going to be petty back, or are we going to take responsibility for our own actions, for how we're responding in a situation? Like what level are we choosing to live at, right? So if we're committing in advance, to remembering, that we are divine beings, that we are royalty, that we are moving and walking in dignity, and we're moving regally, that is going to help us go through situations with more patience, with more love, having like an excellent spirit. Also, just even being fearless, rising above like fear, because a lot of times someone may come at us and we might feel afraid, and that fear can suck us in, like suck us down. Fear is definitely going to sink us, or sink you, or sink me into, a low level, and we don't want to be there, right? Again, starting with looking at the man or the woman in the mirror, remembering when they go low, we can go high, to quote. It does help break these cycles that we get into of confusion. When someone's coming at us in a hurtful way, we can break out of that confusion. We can break that pattern by choosing to forgive, choosing to release those things that are holding us back from being able to move forward in life. So again, I'm going to be starting tomorrow doing a 20-day challenge. So if you're struggling with how to be able to release, to be able to forgive, to not be, in a petty place, and that petty place and that place of revenge may not even be with someone else. It could be with you. A lot of times when we have not forgiven ourselves, we go in like negative cycle patterns, pulling ourselves down with negative self-talk, negative, especially if you're a perfectionist, right? I am a recovering perfectionist. I, as a photographer, used to look at all my work and be like, no, it's not as good as this person. It's not as good. And I mean, it was super destructive to me as an artist. I couldn't get to a higher level as an artist because I was always, being petty to myself about my own work. I wasn't able to learn how to appreciate my art, and I still take photos sometimes. I'm like, what was I thinking? But basically, I've had to learn how to release that perfectionism, how to forgive myself for not being perfect, and by doing that, that helps me to function at a higher level with my art. So it could be even that maybe it's not that you're struggling with other people being petty to you. Maybe you've been struggling with you being petty to yourself. And so that's what the forgiveness challenge will help you with. If you're going to sign up for it, it will help you to learn how to release forgiveness, learn how to be open to receiving love, not only from other people, but also to give yourself love, to give yourself that grace, and to release those things that are holding you back, so that you can have the relationships, so that you can function at higher levels, so that you can take responsibility without, also beating yourself up. Because taking responsibility for something and our actions and the role that we're playing in a situation or a relationship is not about, beating ourselves up or any of that either. It is about giving ourselves grace. And, that is something that I'm really excited about. I know that I'm not the only one who's struggled with this. I hear other people tell me, or just in general share about how they struggle with, forgiveness in different situations. It could be from something that is very traumatic, or it could just be something that in general you struggle with just being kind of a petty person. And so all of that to say, you are welcome to email me at levelupwithbeth, and I'll send you the info so you can register for tomorrow. But just remember who you are, what your identity is. Keep your identity in. When we keep our identity, this has been my experience. When I keep my identity in God, because He's a higher being, He's seeing things from a more universal perspective. He's got a broader perspective of me, an eternal perspective. It's not just like a narrow little tiny thing. Like, I only have my narrow little personal experience that I see my life in. I might see others in. But if I start looking and functioning how God sees me, how He sees other people, it does give me a broader perspective. And it helps me to take responsibility in a way that is healthy, and in a way that does not, cause me to give in to being petty in situations. And so that was what I wanted to share this evening. So I encourage you, to look to God for your identity, for your purpose. Look beyond just your job, look beyond just what society says, your family, your friends, your partner, your children, even, whoever it happens to be. Look beyond those things for your perspectives. Look to, God, to get that perspective so that you can, continue to rise up and function in life at a higher level. So, all right, that is it for real this time. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Feel free, if you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I'm always happy to hear from you. You can also, in any of the comment sections below this video, you're free to also, share a comment or write a question. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Peace.